Welcome to Ask a Mountain Bike Professional. Today we are going to be interviewing the illustrious, the handsome, the talented WilWood. Here's Will. Will, say hi.
Hello.
And Aaron is with us as well.
Hello, everybody.
And we're going to just jump right into kind of asking Will a few questions, get to know Will first. So non-mountain biking stuff. Will, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I would say the thing that defines me the most is probably that I'm a dad. You know, I've got 3 kids, a wife. I try to keep them all happy. And then I'm a business owner. I own a little brick and mortar retail store. We sell kitchen supplies, like anything you would find in a residential kitchen. And then I'm Mormon. And I love playing in the mountains, so almost anything in the mountains, but bikes are probably, I have the most history with bicycles.
Awesome. So tell us your small businesses. You've been involved in more than one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I started out, I guess I started out washing windows in college, and that was probably my first endeavor. And then I realized I wasn't very detail oriented.
So that's kind of like the classic entrepreneur.
Right?
You start with something that you can do in college, and you grab a buddy or two, you go out, you hit the streets, you knock some doors, you earn some money, and you're like, this is what I want.
And that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, I can make 20 or 30 bucks an hour washing windows? Yeah. And so that's exactly what we did. Our company name was Bird's Bane, and we had like a picture of a bird on a window, you know? And so we did that, and I did that a little bit through college, and then I went and knocked on doors selling pest control. Hated it. Made great money. Won't ever do that again.
Aaron?
Hated it so bad.
I didn't sell pest control, but I did sell house alarms in Milwaukee until I found out that the police wouldn't even respond to house alarm in Milwaukee, and it made it a lot more difficult to sell them. So
a crisis of conscience.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did pretty well right at first, but yeah, once I found that out, I'm like, I'm done.
Oh my gosh, I did well the first month as well.
Yeah.
And then after, I was like, I don't like this.
So just for the record, I never did a traveling sales gig.
Yeah.
But I did take several dates in college to the dinners that they threw. like more than once. And I'd explain to the girl up front, I'd be like, that's going to be really good food. They're going to pitch that, we're going to go be salespeople for whatever. We're going to eat a ton of good food. And we're going to act super stoked about this. And then we're out. And luckily, the few times I did it, the girls were cool enough to totally be like, yeah, let's do it. So I ate some free meals on those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my current businesses, we do a lot of work for the head honchos of those businesses to make a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
But I've never gone out and done it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So you did that for a while then?
And that's brutal. And then I had always worked at like brick and mortar retail places, restaurants, ski shops, bike shops, and then in college, I finished college. I ended up graduating after 6 years in art, just with a general art degree. I was going to do graphic design, but couldn't make it to the end of it. So I graduated with a general art degree while I was working at Great Harvest here in Logan on Center Street, and the owner was like, hey, dude, let's start one in Twin Falls. So long story short, we ended up buying one just outside of Boise in Meridian, Idaho. We were there for 10 years, and then we sold it, and that was a good thing. And we were like, okay, let's move back to the valley. There may have been a failed business venture / partnership in between there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then no bragging rights there. And then came down here with no plan, but a little bit of seed money, and we ended up buying Love to Cook, which was an established kind of like Orson Gigi, Sur La Table sort of store. And then, these shiny pictures are, we finally moved to another building after 3 years of owning it, and we bought the building and we remodeled it, and we made a cool logo, and it's still called Love to Cook at Kitchen Needs. But I actually love the business, and food's a huge part of my life. And so I teach some baking classes and Mexican cooking and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll ask some more questions about food later. So that I think that's like the classic American dream story that you just told us. You know,
Yeah.
Like, it really is. Like,
Maybe I should have explained some more speed bumps then.
like no,
Yeah,
no, that was great. In an alternate universe where Love to Cook doesn't exist, what do you think WilWood would be doing?
Well, that's a good question. Honestly, in an alternate universe, I kind of think in an alternate universe where I didn't marry up, because my wife, Lauren, has like held together all of our business ventures. But in an alternate universe, I would be a trophy truck racer. I thought that was amazing. Like in elementary school, kids are always like, "Oh, I want to be an astronaut," and I was like, "I want to race trucks across the desert." And that was
like Baja 1000 stuff.
Exactly. And I mean, that was like mid to late 80s when I started seeing that stuff, and it wasn't around for that long at that point. But that's what I would have done, or rally car racing. I didn't even know rally car was a thing, and then YouTube came out, and I was looking at like how to e-brake around a corner in like 2005 or something, because I had this 82 Ford Escort, and I was like, this is a sport! Oh my gosh!
That's awesome.
So it probably would have been something with cars.
Nice. I didn't know that you had that love. You share that love with Aaron.
I do,
Yeah.
but Aaron knows
Need
like
for
how
speed.
to do it, and I'm just like break stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I actually looked into how to become a race car driver. Like
What?
yeah. So I talked to a lot of different people, and it basically all starts out with go-karts. Like
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton, like he was a phenomenal go-kart racer, and then moved on to bigger and better things, and now, say what you will about him, he's been successful.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah, and I mean, like, so you're probably watching the no, not Need for Speed, the Drive to Survive F1 series on Netflix right now.
no, so
You gotta check it out.
I used to be all about the road racing. That was my absolute passion.
Yeah.
But since probably mid 2000s, when I've known about rally racing because of Audi's Quattro, and if you had a European Ford Escort back in '82, it would have been cool. but the American version was not nearly as cool. But yeah, so once I really discovered rally racing, and I fell in love, and I've always loved trophy trucks also. Like that amount of suspension, like seeing those hit whoops, and like the cab is just flat and the tires are just all over the place. I love that.
Seriously.
Yeah, I don't have that same passion. I love to drive fast off road, and we built a couple of vehicles to do it, but I've never thought of myself as a racer. But a couple times, actually once down at Bootleg, we got a ride in the Ford Raptor that was the Fox One that they were doing the test suspension on, and I was exhausted from riding because I'm kind of fat and lazy, and I jumped in with them, and I got to ride shotgun when they filmed riding to the top of the mountain. So they had the filming all set up, and that was fun. That was insane.
You were the navigator.
Yeah, the guy was like, we could have lost some really expensive bikes off the back the way he was driving for the commercial, but it was pretty fun. Back to you, Will. What is your spirit animal, or what would your spirit animal be?
It would probably be a cheetah.
Cheetah, because the speed.
Well, yeah, I love the speed, and then but it doesn't do it very often, and then once it's done, it's like just come kill me. I'm the weakest thing in the forest.
Needs a big bill. I'm going to work on the tap. I like it.
That's me.
That's pretty great.
Some people will be like, oh yeah, Will, he's super fast. And I'm like, you don't see when I have to lay down. That's bad.
Will's spirit animal, the cheetah.
Cheetah.
But for different reasons than you might think. I like that.
Yeah.
How about, here's a question on the left field. If you could give everyone that you know and care about a gift, but it has to cost less than $100, what would you give them?
Oh, man.
Because the easy answer is you give everybody an awesome mountain bike if it was unlimited. Right. That's just a given.
Yes.
But it has to cost less than $100.
Okay.
What would you give everyone that you know and care about?
Okay, so 2,000 years ago, there was a guy named Jesus. He would have given him a fishing pole and taught him how to fish, right?
Yep, but fishing sucks.
Yeah. So I would give them a decent knife, a cutting board, and a frying pan.
Oh.
Because that would make everyone happy and healthier.
There you go.
Forever. So that's probably what it would be.
And you can do that for under $100.
And you can do that for under $100, and I've got access to it.
Wholesale. Under $100.
Yeah.
Wholesale.
Nice. Now let's shift gears to some mountain biking questions.
Yeah. Will, we need you to tell us how you got into mountain biking initially. Because I've heard some of the stories. And you'll have to tell us about your first real mountain bike also.
Well, my first real mountain bike. Okay, yeah, I totally remember it.
That you would consider, at the time, real, because now you've shifted how you think about it. But back then, what did you consider? Like, this was my first real.
Okay, so my first real one.
That you considered it.
That I considered.
At the moment, not now.
At the moment, it was a Barracuda. I can't remember the model. It wasn't the A2R something. It was a Barracuda mountain bike, and it had a duo-track fork on it. And those duo-track forks sucked so bad. And that was it. I worked at Adventure Sports here on, it's where Directive Skate Shop is now.
Yeah.
And
They've had a few shops there.
yeah, after that it was bittersweet. They inherited the climbing wall from Adventure Sports, and yeah, so it was a Barracuda, and that was an upgrade from a giant iguana that my dad bought me. He bought me like an 18-inch bike when I was in 5th grade, so I'd grow into it, and consequently I never grew into that bike.
Dude, I had a giant iguana. I did. Mine was black and it had like orange, like
splatters?
Yeah.
Yes!
Do you have the same bike?
No, but my mom did!
There's your mom joke in there. But me and your mom had the same bike.
Yeah, you did. The underbar, both thumb shifters.
Yeah, like Alivio.
Yeah, probably. I don't even remember.
Was the group back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my first real mountain bike, and I mean, I just mobbed it up and down Green Canyon, which has a great trail now, but before it was just
road.
a road up to wherever the Water Canyon was, which is where North Logan gets their water.
Yeah. Awesome. What, so you said you lived in Boise.
Yep.
And here. Those are the two main places. I mean, you did the mission thing somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But now my adult life, Logan, Meridian, Idaho, just outside of Boise, and then back here.
Compare the riding between those two places.
Okay, so a word has to be said about the Boise cycling, what do you call it? Scene?
Yeah.
Community.
There's a huge scene up there. There's a lot of energy behind it. But honestly, at the end of the day, for me, it's quite a large town. It's a thriving metropolis, even more so now than it was 15 years ago when I moved up there. And the trails are fun, but they're all the same. It's like we have 400 miles of single track in the foothills.
Homogeneous single track.
Homogeneous. Literally. So the first half a mile I was on the single track in Boise. I was riding a Carbon Gary Fisher. What was that fancy one? Not kind of fancy. I can't remember what it was. But
The Joshua?
no, it was a hardtail. It doesn't matter. I broke it. But I thought they hauled sifted road base in because it was compacted sand. And then I realized, oh my gosh, all the trails are like this. Just compacted sand. You don't need a full suspension unless you're hitting big jumps or you're hitting the rock gardens that are installed. Like
Yeah.
they bring in rocks to make
Or like the 2 bike parks, maybe.
which is where I rode principally after I sold my hardtail.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and then northern Utah, I don't know if it's that I like grew up here and learned to love the riding and the dirt and the rocks and the kind of roots that we have, but like I love the riding up here. Because even back in the day, you know, there was Jardine Juniper, there was Rick's Hollow, there was Richard's Hollow, and those were all like awesome single track that had pretty gnarly descents and rocks and streams crossings, and you know, so we were hitting those on like 1990s hardtail bikes, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
And so I love that, and now it's just like more of that. It's
Yeah.
just gotten better.
Yeah, we talk all the time about how lucky we are to have the raw natural trails that we have. Like,
Yeah.
Like they are. Like they're I shouldn't say real. They're like old school mountain bike trails.
Yeah.
And when they add new trails, sometimes you get a berm here and there or
Uh-huh.
or a roller, but they're still kind of old school
Yeah.
mountain bike trails up here. So I mean we kind of love the same stuff.
For sure.
You're stuck on Nolly on your background.
It's a good bike to be stuck on.
It is a good bike to be stuck on. For those watching, not listening, we got photos of Will on behind him going and his buddies on bikes.
Yeah, I actually had a similar experience when I moved down to Ogden. Great riding, really easy to get to, but I felt like a lot of it was all kind of the same, and I missed riding up here so much. And so when the opportunity was presented, I jumped at it. And then I backed out, and then I jumped more in.
That's actually super true. That's how it went down.
I gotta hear that story later.
Yeah. All right. So you're involved in the community quite a bit, and tell us about your advocacy involvement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't hold any positions, but I am in touch with, well, you know, I do help like the Green Canyon Mountain Bike Team. But as far as advocacy goes, I work with Cache Trails Alliance, and I just kind of pass information along. My friend was the mayor of North Logan City, where I live. Now I know the new mayor, and both mayors have been super stoked to continue to develop trails and mountain bike specific trails, which is amazing. And so I don't know, I'm more of like a dot connector. I don't want to be a leader, but because I have other leadership positions in my own business and other stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want anything else, but I really, really want more mountain bike trails.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's one of the things that we wanted to do with this, you know, this podcast, was talk about kind of the unsung heroes, the guys that don't have their names on everything when we do interviews, that are really involved and are really helping push forward. I mean, the BMX track in North Logan's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty crazy that North Logan has a BMX track that you can throw up some stands in and hold a race.
Yeah, and that was so cool. I was able to watch that happen. Damon Can, the last mayor, he was like, "Hey, Will, we have 3 projects where mountain bike trails could be put." And he's like, "Do you want to come to the city meeting?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And so I go to the city meeting. We're sitting around a table. It's like January or February, and Damon, the mayor, was like, "Here's 3 spots: Bonneville Shoreline Trail, private, and then a piece of city ground, which was just like used for green waste depositing." And he's like, "Would this be enough to put a BMX track on?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Could we do it?" And I'm like, "Well, just Google these guys and put a BMX track there, and they'll build it for you." And they had funds already for some park stuff. And that meeting was, it was middle of winter, January or February. And then in June, we had a BMX track. Bam!
Yeah.
These guys came in from Texas, pushed all the dirt, and it was awesome. And it's there. Our kids ride it like once a week. It's amazing.
And how's the maintenance going on that?
So when you buy a BMX track, the contractors come in, they move the dirt, they compact it, and then they come back like from one time between months 6 and 12 to reshape it. So a lot of people are like a little nervous about it because it's had some erosion happen to it, but the company still needs to come back and regrade it. And
So that's part of their contract.
Yep.
You know, I'm just curious. Do you know how long that sort of agreement goes? Like they come back for X amount of years, or?
I don't think so. I know that they're training the city to maintain it and say, use this type of sand, use this type of dirt, use these weed killers here, water it here this often. So I don't know super specifics, but I know that it is, like when we did the BMX track, it was like, hey, this is ongoing. You can't just like put it and then set it and forget it.
Yeah, because I've seen a couple abandoned ones that turned out horrible.
I know, it's
So
so sad.
Yeah.
But that's cool that they're training the city guys how to do it, so it just becomes part of their like maintenance routine for the city.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go.
And it was cool when we were in that meeting. Several of the city workers were there, and they were stoked on it.
Yeah.
So they bought into it. And, I don't know, good leadership in North Logan. And, yeah, I think it's got a bright future.
Well, I mean, you kind of said, like I said, going back to kind of our unsung hero thing, you said you didn't really take a major leadership role in this stuff, but this stuff doesn't happen if you don't have the connective tissue. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the guys making connections. So a lot of times we talk about, hey, get involved in your community, get involved in the mountain bike industry. You may not know how to create a trail, but you are hoping that a trail can exist somewhere. Talk about it. Open your mouth, go meet some people, talk to the Forest Service, talk to your city officials, because it takes those connections. A lot of times, if you can get everybody on the same page, you can get something done.
Yeah, 100%. So my next project, which is so insignificant and small, but I know this guy. I'll just drop his name. His name's Alan Lucci. I'm going to call him. And there's this water spigot really high up in Green Canyon. And I'm like, hey, can you just turn that on? Yeah. And I think it's really easy for the city to do it. But it's dry every summer. And I trail run too. And so I'm always like going out in a pair of shorts. And that's it. And
whoa,
yeah, I know, it's pretty exciting. Actually.
Oh dear,
I know. Well, I have a knife on me because I'm scared of mountain lions.
Barefoot running, barefoot, bareback, just shorts.
And a knife.
Yeah, the knife.
Used to be a rock, now it's a knife. But
Just
I'm like,
pick up a rock.
Yeah.
One of my buddies, when he crashed, I learned that he had a 9mm in his bike bag. And I gave him the what the? And it's for bears, dude.
And you said, you should look into what it takes to take down a bear.
Yeah. You're gonna need a sawed-off shotgun with some slugs in there.
I don't know. It held a lot of bullets. I might have been able to stop a bear with it.
Yeah.
I was given a 9mm in Alaska for that's like bear repellent, and he was like, whatever you do, don't shoot it at the bear.
Just makes noise.
Yeah.
This is just a fire ant.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you shoot at the bear? You know what he brought out? A Remington 500. And he was like, here you go. I was like, ugh. I'm like, I can't run with that. He's like, you're not going to get attacked by a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time when we were in Jackson, like the famous Jimmy's Mom and Fuzzy Bunny and Lithium, all those trails. Have you ridden those?
Yeah.
If not, you must. They're amazing. My wife and I went up there, and we were sleeping with a big group that in a huge cabin, and everybody was snoring. So like the second night, we're like, this sucks. We're not sleeping. So we went up and slept in this little meadow in the back of our truck, and we had the stand-up bike rack, So, but there was like a bear attack the week before, in the same area. So this is a while ago. We went to buy some bear repellent. It was like $100. I'm like, oh, is it worth $100 not to get eaten by a bear? And we seriously debated that. And then we went and slept in the back of the truck, no tent or anything, just blew up the mattress, slept in the truck, had the bikes hanging over us.
Naturally.
And my wife slept awesome, and all night I was just like, man, she is so delicious. the bear's gonna eat her for sure. Yeah. Not me, I'm fine, I'm disgusting. But anyway, that is one of the, there's all those great videos of mountain bikers running into bears, but I've never had that happen, but I thought my wife was going to get eaten that time. I was pretty sure it was going to happen. So you talked about running with pretty much, your skivvies.
Yeah.
Do you own a spandex riding kit?
I still do. Yeah, I
Oh.
do.
Well, that's good for being honest. I would have lied about it, but
I own a spandex riding kit, and I own a road bike. And I bought some tires from you guys, road bike tires.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron might have had to order them. No, I don't know.
I probably did.
Yeah, but I bought them, and I still haven't put them on my bike. But my road bike has cracked tires, and I put it on KSL like 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 years in a row.
KSL is like
Craigslist.
local Craigslist / Pink Bike / sell whatever you
But
want.
way more organized.
Yeah, but actually more organized than either of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing site. But I'll get an offer, and I'll like immediately take it down because I just can't sell my road bike. I've got a lot of history with it, and sometimes I ride it once a year, sometimes 5 times. But I'll break out the spandex and throw down.
Have you ever shaved your legs?
Yes,
Did it make you faster?
100%. Yeah, shaving your legs makes you faster.
Doubled your speed.
Hey, our podcast that we had a few weeks ago talking about like things you can do to make you faster without getting more fit. We didn't talk about shaving your legs.
We did. We should have.
We should have
left
thought
that
of
one
that.
out.
I didn't even think of it because I think I only shaved my legs in high school for basketball, and I don't know. Like I think that I had more people fill up my legs in that 3-week period than I was comfortable with. So I don't think I've ever done it since.
No, I think that, yeah, it totally makes you faster, and I think, purple pedals and purple grips make you faster too.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we covered that stuff. We did not cover shaving your legs making you faster, so.
Yeah, I'm 100% in on if you emotionally feel better about it, well, who cares if it makes you faster?
Yeah,
like
but
if you're emotionally bought into it, it's going to make it more fun.
if you feel faster and having more fun, you're going faster.
Yeah.
Perception is reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
I agree. So, last question specifically about this stuff. And this is I mean, you're a religious guy.
Yeah.
So
I would say spiritual, but I'll go religious too.
You're a spiritual guy.
Yeah, there we go.
So I'm gonna have Aaron pretend like he's your ecumenical leader and ask you this question.
This one I'm going to have to read.
Oh no!
Are you transparent and honest in your expenditures on mountain biking with your significant other?
Well, it's kind of like being gay in the military in the 1990s. Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
I have a piggy bank, and it's all cash. And I come home with something. She doesn't see money missing, and we don't talk about it.
One of the worst things that I have done is got my significant other into mountain biking, because now when I get something, she's like, why don't I have that? So I have to buy something expensive and awesome twice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so true.
that does get expensive.
Yeah.
But also one of the best things you've done.
Yeah. And now she literally does have a better bike than me.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So,
cool.
yeah.
I do have.
That's why it's faster.
I do have a client who will not be named. We'll just call him a client, who was sitting in a church meeting. Locally, they call it the state conference, where everybody goes down together, like a number of neighborhoods get together and listen to a big bang whiz leader of some sort.
Uh-huh.
And he was speaking about being honest with your spouse, and partway through that meeting, this client, who shall not be named, it isn't me, it really isn't. My wife and I are totally honest about stuff. He turned to his wife and confessed some of his expenditures to her. Hey, honey, I didn't tell you the truth about this. This is what this cost. And you know what? As far as I know, they're still married.
Well, there you go.
We'll leave it at that.
They just don't buy as much stuff from you anymore.
And they're no longer a client. I should have said former client. Yeah, former client. Yeah. Is it so? Truth or legend that without physical activity, out in nature, you devolve into Homo erectus or Homo neanderthalis, or you devolve into some class of subhuman.
Well, I guess the question would be, like, is it Evo or Devo? Is it devolving or is it evolving?
No, without.
I'm sure you would change.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would change.
But I mean, WilWood specifically. I've heard from people that you turn into. I can't think of a word I can say because I know a lot of bad words.
I have been stuck in the wilderness and lived on just meat for 4 or 5 days at a time.
Nice.
And it was crazy. Amazing bowel movements after that week.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
So yeah, I'd say true.
But yeah, well, no, I let's go the other route. If you don't get out there and ride your bike, are you more of a jerk?
I am. I mean, yeah.
Or if you don't get out there in the wilderness, can you not function in your other business duties?
I mean, I am literally.
I've heard this about you.
Yeah, literally next week we're going to a mental illness podcast. Like I'm. I mean, yeah. Bring on all the meds, all the drugs. If I don't get time outside, and actually time alone outside, I'm a jerk. I can't concentrate. I'm not a good dad. I mean, it's really hard. And the good thing about it is my wife knows now. And so when she sees this pattern happening of, it's so weird. I actually do like to work. So I'll get carried away with work and I'll work too much, family too much, church too much, still try to sleep normal. And yeah, next thing you know, I'll be running the stairs at Old Main at 1:30 a.m. because I'm like, nothing's going to happen until this happens to my system and I can get the reset.
Yeah. I've like my wife is, and I are kind of the same that way too. Hers is different. Like she can go to the gym and get that. I can't anymore. I was a personal trainer in college, but I still like I hate the gym now. But I can't go to the gym and get that reset anymore. I have to be, like you said, usually alone in the woods.
Yes.
Or alone in my own dirt track that I built and just time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like people. I mean, I don't like people. Who does? But it's not that I don't like people. It's just I need that reset. Yeah. And I have found, I used to do a lot more group riding than I do now. I still will, but even like Aaron knows to be like, hey, we got a group ride. Don't feel like you have to come. Because he knows I probably won't, you know, a lot of times. But I need that reset too, so I totally get that. I understand it. And my wife, will your wife say to you, why don't you go for a ride?
Yeah, 100% she will.
Yeah, like she catches on.
Yeah.
She's like, or yeah, do you think you could squeeze in a ride today?
Yeah. And you know, I just read this book that's like Zen, and so I'll talk to my wife about raking the garden, and she'll be like, why don't you go rake the garden? And that's kind of like a Zen, you know, like the rock garden thing where you rake and meditate. And really, I mean, it is. It's like raking the garden. It's taking care of yourself, your spirit. Like, I mean, your body, sure, but it's so much more important. The other things, the spirit, your mental psyche. I mean, it's so weird that you can go ride a bike outside for an hour or two, and then you come back and you feel like more confident, and you can concentrate more, and you're kinder to people, and you're like, man, I was just selfish for 2 hours, and now I'm the opposite of selfish. Mm-hmm. I'm helping everyone else around me by being a better version of myself. So, yeah. Yeah,
no, it's totally true. I mean, I'm so lucky to have a spouse and even like and a lifestyle. Like being a small business owner, my whole MO is if somebody cancels an appointment with me, like I'm stoked. Because I'm gonna go ride and I'm gonna come back and shower at the shop and get my next appointment.
Oh man.
But I mean that's what I'm really lucky to have people around me that recognize that and be like, hey, oh, why don't you go for a ride?
Why don't you do this?
Yeah. Why don't you go for a ride?
That's so awesome.
I think that's just, it is like a lifesaver for a lot of us that I think are in that same boat.
Yeah.
Do you listen to something when you go out and do that? Like if you're not, are you, I mean, I'm sure it's different every time, but do you like throw on headphones, listen to, what's your meditative ride like?
Yeah.
When you're alone?
Oh man, I have huge opinions on that. No headphones. I really I really formed a strong opinion on this when I started running, because running is almost like road biking in that it can be monotonous. There was a huge period of time.
Rhythmic.
Rhythmic. There was a huge period of time in my life where I rode road bikes, and then when we moved to Idaho, I didn't do anything, and I started running, and I ran out the door in Crocs and cutoffs after my baking shift, and was literally running from demons, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get back to this. And so then I started running, and then I started running longer, and I was like, oh dude, this is a lot of time I'm using. I'm gonna put in headphones. And then I realized I love listening to audiobooks. Love it. Audiobooks, podcasts, whatever. But it would disrupt whatever thoughts needed to happen. And so now I don't ever ride the whole ride with headphones in. Sometimes I'll do my warm-up with headphones, music, or the podcast or book I'm listening to, and I'll put one in, because I do think it's a huge safety thing when people ride both. I think that's irresponsible, or run. So I'll go one headphone or one earbud. I'll ride from, I'm a mile to 2 miles away from dirt where I live, so I ride on the road, and then I take it out, and then I listen to the cadence of my feet hitting the ground, or my breathing if I'm on my bike, and that is meditation at its finest.
Yeah, so I'm the same way. I'll mix it up. I'm probably not as regimented as you about it, but I'll mix it up, and I find my rhythm more on the downhill. Maybe that's what I live for. But a lot of times I'll listen to something on the way up, and then I'll kill it for the down, because I want to hear my hub sing to me. I want to hear my tires, what they're doing in the different dirt and rocks that they're going. I want to hear the wind. I want to feel it. And I want to feel the flow. Sometimes it takes you 9/10 of the trail to find flow, but who cares? That last 10% of the trail is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and the rest of it was fine.
Yes.
But down. That's maybe another reason why I love to shuttle run. I really do, because you get 3 laps on the same trail, and you find your flow on the first lap somewhere, and the next 2 are just I kind of ignore what people are even talking about on the next ride up, and you hit the trail again, and you've got it already.
Yeah.
You're there. It's
Okay. And so that, I think, is something super important. So I wouldn't shuttle. I would go with you, and I still want to.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't shuttle on a regular basis, because I will find my flow on the way up. And should I talk into the camera?
You can talk wherever you want. Okay. Most people are just listening to this.
Yeah.
The 3 people that listen, they're all listening on headphones. but for the YouTube version, you talk wherever you want. The camera's on you, so you're a beautiful man. It doesn't matter if it's profile or face forward.
So, people. Okay, so for example, I remember I would have people be like, "Man, Will, I want to run." Not like me, but they want to run like I run.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Why? What's the point?" And they're like, "Well, you stay in shape, and it looks fun when you do it, but I hate running." And I'm like, "Don't freaking run then. Go do something fun." You're not going to get into flow doing something you don't like.
No.
And so whether that's I find my flow on the way up and then get to really enjoy it on the way down, you shuttle it, and you've got this magic 1, 2, 3. I mean, everyone's different, and what is most important is you can borrow from Dave or Will or Aaron and use their impetus into flow mode, but whatever works for you, that's what you got to keep doing. Don't do it for anyone else, do it for you. And when you find it, obey your rules and freaking stick to it.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, throw me my phone.
This one?
Or Will, why don't you throw me my phone? I found that. I left it over there. I want to look this up. I keep this tab open. Do you ever do this and leave a tab open because you're like, I'm going to keep referring to this for a while till I get it?
You can even put it on your homepage.
Yeah, I don't do that because my phone has a jabillion apps. That's a number.
Oh man,
so have you looked up theflowproject.net?
No.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to do it.
I'm throwing this out there, theflowproject.net. It's a good thing to review and remind you of finding that. I don't care what you call it. I mean, Aaron, how do you find flow?
How do I find flow?
Yeah, you know what we're talking about, though.
Yeah.
When you say that.
So yeah, for me, it's a good mixture. Usually, I'll pedal up and like work through all of my problems. Well, think about all of my problems and then
You have
get
so many
anxious.
you can't work through.
And just on the way up, I'll think about everything that is messing with me, and kind of leave it at the top. And then on the way down, just leave all my problems and get into that flow. And that's one thing that I really like about the raw trails that we have, because when you've got a generic flow trail where you've got a jump and then you've got a berm, and it's the same thing that you've ridden on so many different trails. I can't find the flow there, which is interesting. Can't find flow on a flow trail. But
It's too forced.
when I'm riding through a dried stream bed and keeping my tires going basically the direction that I want as they're rolling all these different rocks, and we've got a two-wheel drift because of gravel into a worn-in edge. Like, that's where I find the flow, because I can't concentrate on anything except for what is happening right there under my tires, what my bike is doing, and
Requires 100% of you.
yep, exactly. That's where I
key.
find
I think
flow.
that's key, no matter what you're doing. Don't you, Will?
Oh man.
No matter what you're doing, if it requires all of your everything in that moment, it doesn't have to be that it's that hard. It just has to be that it requires that all of your focus
Yeah.
to really be great that way. I just had an epiphany.
What's that?
I just realized why the top of Birch Creek Trail always feels kind of dark. Like just Aaron leaves all his problems up there.
Hopefully you don't step in that.
Yeah,
Bring it down with you.
There's like evil spirits up there
there's a feel.
haunting it.
It's like the air is kind of like thick, but not in a good thick, like not like ocean thick.
Is the altitude high here? Like, I breathe.
I thought it was all the Longhorn.
No,
It's my problems.
that's it. And I'm just gonna stop a little bit from the top now. Every time, like maybe 200 yards from the top, just turn around.
Yeah, just stop at the top
avoid
of the
that.
single track.
Yeah.
Don't go all the way to the bench.
Yeah, don't go to the bench because that's where Aaron leaves his problems at the bench.
Yeah. Maybe we need to like take
Maybe we should
priest
put up
and a monk
or a warning sign.
Yeah.
Oh man, it smells like Aaron's problems up here.
That's rough because it's true. All right, we got sidetracked. But I thought that was good. Like I love getting other people's thoughts on that. So that, I mean, what? Okay, let's ask you this, and this could take a long time. Try and summarize this as well as you can. What does mountain biking need?
Okay. I do have. Okay. So, I do have opinions on that. So, okay, I'll start with a thought that's kind of random. I really liked where mountain biking was going with like all the enduro stuff. I thought that was super fun.
The original, we get together, we have a lot of fun, everybody rides up together, you go down as fast as you can. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and I liked the timing aspect.
Yeah.
I've literally done like 3 enduro races. Like, I'm not like an enduro racer, but maybe like now as a 40-year-old man that is so much slower than I was before going up, I'm like, yeah, I can still race down.
Yeah.
I really like that, but like, man, there's like no enduro races in Utah. Very many. There's a Bajo, but like it's so hard to get into, and there's no Scott Cup anymore. Anyways, and then I'm juxtaposing that, or maybe throwing this in as well. I'm a Nika ride leader guy, not a coach.
Don't call him a coach.
Don't call me coach, but like I do all the background stuff, and I love that.
Connective tissue again.
There you go, connective tissue. But NICA has pummeled into us that it's like so inclusive and like there's a place for everyone, that I feel like there is almost like a lack of competition. Like it's almost like it's being villainized. And, you know, reading...
So that's a love-hate thing, because we love mountain biking for that reason.
Because it's so chill, right?
Yeah, but for the kids that want it.
The kids that want it, like, that's a huge part of developing as a human, is like, if you're a person that thrives on competition, it's not like you're thriving on violence. I mean, maybe violence is part of it, but like, look at the kids that play football. Like, they're violent with each other, and they love it, and they love each other.
Yeah.
And there's not like some sort of, you know, power struggle there that is unhealthy. There is a power struggle, but so I think healthy competition is awesome, and like having an arena for that would be great. Whether it's a group ride, I love Strava, but I hate Strava because I always want to go ride down faster, but it's unsafe. And, you know, if someone blocked off a descent once a month and there was nothing but bragging rights for whatever, then I think that would be awesome. One thing I love about mountain biking is, like, it really doesn't matter what you're wearing, what you're riding, like that kind of stuff.
Legs shorn or not.
Legs shorn or not. My legs are shaved right now.
It matters not.
So that probably looks like I'm like naked under here. I have pants on.
He's wearing the perfect Zoom outfit.
So, I think mountain biking, in summation, needs a little bit more of like healthy competition. In our valley, I mean, I think the community is building, but we're having a hard time putting together like a central hub. I think you guys are doing a really good job with the group rides, because people are meeting each other. But yeah, healthy competition.
No,
answer.
I know. I love that. That was not one that I thought of.
What have you thought of?
Well, I think that would go on and on and on, but this is about you, Will.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I hadn't thought of that one, so I appreciate that. That's great. That's a great addition. Aaron, you want to ask another one? You got another question?
Yeah, so this is one that I'm genuinely interested. What is it that you do that keeps you excited about it? Because you've been doing this for a long time. And so what keeps you excited about mountain biking?
Man, that's interesting, because I did have a period where I didn't ride mountain bikes, and then I got back on a mountain bike, and I was like, what in the world have I been thinking for the last 4 or 5 years?
I did that too.
And I got busy, but it seems like a horrible excuse. If that's your excuse, you suck. That's not an excuse.
You're doing it wrong!
You're doing it wrong. Man, I kind of what you were explaining about like not getting into flow on the flow trail, like I feel like mountain biking is the quintessence of variety.
I love that sentence. Can I write that down?
Just write it down. Bust that out. Because okay, so for example, we can ride in the rain up here. No one really knows that, but like it doesn't get muddy really. Maybe some trails do, but you can go ride trails in the rain.
You have to avoid like the dirt bike trails.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're good.
You're good. You can ride on the rocks and the sand and the roads and stuff. So mountain biking, you can go ride it in the rain. You can go ride it at night. You can go ride it when it's freaking hot. And I mean, when it's freaking hot up here, it's 100 degrees. Yeah. It's 100 degrees in Phoenix at 6 a.m. when they're all riding down there. Like, we can go ride whenever. And so I think there already is a lot of natural variety built into mountain biking, and I love it for that. You do have to have the clothing to do it. You know, the old saying, there's no bad weather, only bad gear.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Was that good, Aaron?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied? Are you satiated?
Well, now I know that if you have an excuse, you suck. So.
Dang it! Is that the takeaway?
No, I think that's awesome because I got out of it for a minute because I got married, had kids, and then I pulled out the Trek 4500 out of retirement
Yes.
and started riding again. And yeah, even on that 26-inch wheels and V brakes and a Judy TT.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love this. And I'm like, what made me stop? And yeah. It was 100% just not prioritizing. You know, it's easy to say you're too busy. Going to school for 6 years like a doctor, I did it. You know, took my time. And working full time to get through school, only to end up as a bike mechanic, which is what most people do to get through school. I've tried explaining that to myself numerous times. Anyway, that's beside the point.
You're being deliberate. That's what it is.
Yeah, but yeah, even when I was going to school and working full time, I could have made time. I'm way busier now than I ever was with one kid.
Yeah.
You know, going to school.
Yeah.
Not to say that I wasn't busy, but yeah, you can figure it out if you realize how awesome mountain biking is, I guess.
Yeah, you just got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share a really quick story. I know we're going long. So I was with my nephews the other day, last fall, and we were riding up Prov Canyon. I was on my Switchblade, my Pivot Switchblade. Like,
Great bike.
just so fun. Rode up Prov Canyon, and like we start coming down. My nephew breaks his chain, and he's on this giant that, if the front brake were to work, the front fork was like just horrible setup. None of the gears were working, but it didn't matter because his chain broke. And I was like, dude, hop on the Switchblade. I'm riding flats, you're riding flats. And I get on this giant piece of junk. Not that giants are pieces of junk. This bike was.
Sure.
And it's got a rear brake and no chain. Dude.
I bet you had a riot.
It was so fun! It was so fun!
The adult strider on a trail you
It
know
was!
well. It's fun.
It was so fun. I was like,
Yeah.
man, maybe I don't need all these cool bikes. You need all the cool bikes.
Not true. You need to
No, I when I ride with my kids, I ride my commuter with semi-slicks. It's a 97 Gary Fisher Aquila, fully rigid, chromoly, and
Steep angles.
yeah, it makes Green Canyon a little bit terrifying. And so I ride with my kids on that just because, yeah, it adds a danger factor that on my modern and enduro steed is not found.
Yeah, I was kind of sad. Transition released a bike called the Clunker.
Oh
And
yeah,
I was kind of sad that they quit making it.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Was it?
And scary. Yeah, it was only a rear hub skid brake.
yeah, coaster
Oh, it was?
coaster
Coaster
brake.
Yeah,
I saw that.
coaster brake.
I never rode it.
But like the original mountain bikes back then, like fully,
what Gary
fully
Fisher was
rigid, but
riding.
they put good rubber on it.
Yeah,
So fully rigid with good rubber, great big moto handlebar, and it was insanely fun. Painful
Yeah.
to ride on much, but it was so fun. Like Green Canyon was a ride. Once again, a green trail that has great flow. It's a great trail.
Yeah.
But it was so fun to skid around all those corners and forget that you couldn't, put your pedals where you needed to at any given point to miss rocks. Man, that was fun. But we're going to rapid fire the rest of this. You
Okay.
ready?
Okay.
What bike's you riding right now?
Okay. Pivot Trail 429. Nolly Chilcotin. Is that how you say it? And
Chicotin.
I've got some others. I'm probably going to be taking my dad's Pivot Shuttle on a couple of laps, but I haven't ridden that yet. And I do have a felt, I don't know what it is.
Something.
Road bike, yeah.
Okay, cool. Favorite local trails?
Okay, favorite local trails. Rick's. Rick's. I love Rick's. I love the climb. I love the descent. It takes you an hour and change to get to the top, and it takes you 8 minutes to get there.
Yeah, no, really.
It's insane.
But it's so good.
It's so good. And it's not even really a mountain bike trail. I mean, it is.
It wasn't.
It
But
wasn't.
now it is.
It is.
Yeah, it's so good.
There's off-camber stuff. There's routes. There's, you know, you start out in the sage, and then you go into aspens, and then you're in the bottom of a canyon, and then you're like, bad, and there's sheep everywhere, and you're crossing rivers. It's
And
so
there's
cool.
3 switchbacks.
Yeah.
The rest of it is straight. When you come
Yeah, straight down a
It's a
ravine.
rocket. No, that Rick's is awesome.
I love Rick's.
In honor of trying to keep this podcast short enough to only listen to it on the way up, Rick's, we'll keep going.
Sweet.
Favorite non-local trail?
Okay. Favorite non-local trail. Oh man, I really have bagged on the Boise riding. The Eagle Bike Park up outside of Eagle, Boise Meridian area is so fun. And I loved sessioning one called Shake and Bake and the Four Cross track. I think I was the only person that rode the Four Cross track for a long time.
They're so good.
They're so fun.
I hit them last summer. They're so good.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, they're so good.
I mean, like, if you want to feel your bike, like, G out on a, like, fully compress your suspension on some berms, oh, dude, I got goosebumps.
If your
right
tire pressure isn't dialed, you will fold them.
now. You hold them.
Yeah, that's the kind of force you're putting in those corners.
Yeah, and that park is only getting better. Braden Bringhurst is riding up there like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That guy yeah. And he is super good for the community, and he's a really good advocate, and I think he's like the hype man up there.
Yeah.
So, props to Braden.
How good of a bike mechanic are you?
You know, if you'd asked me in the late 90s, I'd be like, I'm pretty good. And now I'm like, I'm going to come put my new bike together. And as soon as I get all the styrofoam off, I'm like, hey, Aaron. So I don't think I'm very good anymore.
What is your favorite post-ride, like a good, decent ride where you went from running cheetah mode
Uh-huh.
to laying down cheetah mode?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite post-ride meal? 'Cause you're
Meal?
a food guy.
Oh, man. So many things. Can I do 2?
Sure.
Because there's definitely
Yeah.
2. So if I'm making food, it's pizza at my house.
Mm.
Because I just love my backyard, and I have a pizza oven, and I'm a baker, and so I make dough and stuff. And so I love thin crust pizza in my pizza oven in my backyard. Or if we're like going out on the town, jarritos, like a Mexican soda with like a chicken bowl from this Pollo Azteca.
Pollo Azteca's chicken
Yeah.
bowl
I
rocks
freaking
my
love
face. I've eaten it 3 times in the last week.
Yes, it's good.
Every day I'm like going to lunch. I'm like, oh, let's see. Yeah, I'll just do that again.
I've been eating them like 2 days a week at least for the last year and a half, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna get sick of them. It hasn't happened.
No, it's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Anything. So the reason this podcast started, once again, unsung heroes. We wanted to show people that don't get on other podcasts, but have to do with the mountain bike community, talk about mountain biking.
Mhm.
It's also because we started MTBTune.Online or MTBTune.com.
Yeah.
You've checked that out a little bit. Do you
Yeah.
have any quick questions for us? We're not going to go into depth because we don't have time. You'll get above Rick's
Yes.
at the time
Okay.
we're running.
Here we go.
You'll have to end up going all the way to Richards.
Or you'll go all the way to the top of Birch where Aaron's problems. We're all you don't
You
want to
wanna-
hang out there.
That's baggage, baby. Well, okay. I see myself using this at my house, but I have a lack of tools. Are you guys like doing anything for like, hey, this is like the tool setup that you need?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We have been making a list of tools that you'll need to complete all the lessons, and we are going to offer that. Our goal isn't to like do retail sales off this.
Right.
We want to give people a better experience through education.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will say, hey, here's a toolkit. This is where you can get them all, either from us or somebody else.
Yeah. So the first thing I thought was, oh, dude, I want to be like bleeding my brakes with the same stuff Aaron's using. So I want the little mechanism like that, and then I want the same fluids. I want the same thing that he's wrenching on his bottom bracket with. Like, I want the exact same stuff, because coming from like teaching cooking classes, you know, I'll use a knife and people are like, I need that knife. And I'm like, no, you don't. You should try several different knives out. And they're like, I want the one that you were using. And I think Aaron's going to be doing that to your people. So I guess it's kind of a comment, but I also want what Aaron's setup is.
No, that makes a ton of sense. That's great input and feedback. You're a Nike guy too, not a coach.
Not a coach, ride leader.
We're trying to figure out how to make this useful for high school kids so that they know at least basic maintenance, how to do this. And we're trying to make it so that we can be like, Nike, you can offer this, and try and help Nike out as well.
Yeah.
You know, with some monetary stuff. But
Yeah.
we're working on that right now as we're getting ready to launch the
That would
product.
be so valuable.
You just mentioned your nephew on his ride with his bike destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
If a little maintenance probably would have got him to where that ride would have been okay for him on that
Yeah,
bike.
yeah. And I mean, as a ride leader, I immediately am like checking. I don't even care if their bike's shifting, but I'm like, do the brakes work? Tire pressure. A huge thing for me is their brake lever position. I change their brake lever position, and all of a sudden they have like double the confidence. And I'm like, dude, it's because they're either pinching their fingers or they can't reach it, and they're uncomfortable getting fast because they can't go slow down. So I think NICA, if they could set their bikes up better and they knew what they were looking for, it would instill so much confidence in those kids.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea too, to be able to package this so all the NICA ride leaders and whatnot can access it as well. But then the kids, then they would know what the kids are doing. Like, hey, you need to do this lesson.
Yeah.
Like you need to do this lesson so that you can have a better experience.
Yeah.
And that's really the goal.
I think that would be money in so many ways.
And did you? I don't know if did you have a chance to check out the Get to Know Aaron Meekum video yet?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
I didn't push play.
Yeah.
Dang it.
No. Okay. You'll have to watch that and give us some feedback. At another
You're
time.
racing cars, Aaron. That's you.
But we'll have to get your thoughts on that. But just kind of wrap it up, Aaron. Do you have any final thoughts on WilWood? We didn't get into a few of the things we wanted to, but I think we covered a lot of good stuff.
We'll have to have Will back so that we can get more in depth, because there's not really layers to Will.
But it takes a while to read it.
Yeah, it's a long book,
He's not
though.
an onion, he's just a delicious clove of garlic.
Just jump right in. Yeah, I really am an open book. And I would love to come back and talk more. I mean, yeah. If there were anything like last thoughts, can I say last thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, don't die after this.
Yeah, I won't die. But I would say, we say a lot. We say at the Wood House a lot. My last name's Wood. Never not have fun. And while that saying can be taken too far, never not have fun. You need to realize, like, if you're in an endeavor and you're not having fun, or it's not bringing joy, man, it's got to be bringing a lot of something else to your life. If you're not having fun,
You're doing it wrong.
you're doing it wrong. So if you're doing something and you're not having fun, you need to change it up.
Hey, thanks, man. We appreciate it. We'll get this posted as soon as we can, and see you again in 2 weeks. Thanks. MTBTune.Online and MTBTune.com. Thanks for tuning in to